Hey guys, welcome back to Prepping in Progress. I'm Kim.
I'm Steve.
And we're in the kitchen again. I like our kitchen videos.
I like kitchen.
Mostly because we're trying to stay busy. Now today we're going to be doing a few different things. We're going to be announcing the winner from our live stream of the book.
How to Survive the End of the World as We Know It by James Wesley Rawls.
Great book, so whoever wins it's going to have a prize. And if you already have a copy of the book, give it to somebody who needs it. So no matter who wins, okay? The other thing, we're going to be cooking in the kitchen. Deer chili. From a can. So not quite homemade deer chili. And also just talking to you guys on current events, what's going on. We'd love to hear from you. I know everybody's kind of cooped up, so we were wanting to put out some more videos. So y'all can see kind of what we're doing to stay busy, and we'd love to hear from y'all as well. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff at the end, after. But anyways, guys, cool intro time. Alright guys, like I said, we're going to be first, I need to announce the winner before we get started on what we're cooking today. I might have the kids just shout out a random number. Why don't you have them shout out the number and then just count down?
Well, I was going to tell them give me a number between 1 and whatever.
Okay. We forgot to count it beforehand. We're terrible at the YouTubing.
Someone! Throw me a number between 1 and 18.
7.
8 and 7.
Well,
Okay,
we've only
8's
got
the first one. If they can't claim it, then 7. Okay.
Lois Young, you're my lucky winner.
Lois! Don't forget to send an email to, we'll try to tag you in the bottom or something if I have a way to get in touch with you. But Lois Young, you have won the copy of How to Survive the End of the World as You Know It. Congratulations. Make sure everybody says congratulations to Lois in the bottom. So it's an excellent book. It's an excellent resource. And like I said, if you already have it, it may be a great introduction for people that you're trying to get introduced.
So yeah, email us at preppinginprogress@gmail.com and we'll get it mailed out.
All right. Now today, like I said, we are getting into some of our preps that we have put back in order to sustain ourselves through this quarantine. And right now, I'm cutting up deer meat. Mainly because I do not process it all of the way when I butcher the deer. I section it off into different pieces. Easy to manage large pieces of deer meat. And then I cube it up and put it through the grinder. It sounds like a lot of work, but it's really not, especially when you kind of keep it semi-frozen.
Yeah.
Not all the way through solid solid block of meat, but I keep it a little bit where it's a little bit good, not frozen so much, it's just kind of...
It's still firm because it's still cold.
Yeah, and so it goes through the grinder a lot easier, I found. Not solid because that'll tear up the grinder, but if you do have like a hand crank, it doesn't gum up as easy if it's slightly colder. As opposed to completely thawed out meat. And once it's ground up, it's usually completely thawed by the time we get to cooking it. But just during the grinding stage.
And keeping in mind that I grew up vegetarian once again, so I had to learn all this
On the fly.
on the job training.
But no, it's good. So make sure, now I tried to, when I was processing this deer, to get most of the sinew off. I don't know if y'all know what that is. That's going to be this kind of... See that white strip there? I got most of it off when I was processing the deer, but there's still some left just because when I'm processing the deer I might not catch all of it, but it's just real kind of sinewy white piece. That's going to make your deer a lot tougher and a lot gamier. So when you're trying to trim it a little bit, you're not so much trimming fat with deer meat because there's really no fat to it.
It's a lean meat.
It's a very lean meat. But you do want to try to get as much as that sinew. That's what's going to really gum up in your grinder because it's tendon in a sense. It's just sinew. And so it's not going to be good and tasty, so we try to make sure we trim most of that off. But when we grind it up, it's usually pretty good. They haven't complained yet on my deer meat. So, like we were saying, we were talking today.
Yeah, we had several long discussions. And finally I said, we really should just let the camera roll while we're doing this.
We have many a debate that y'all do not see, and I see that as wonderful.
And Tony, John, and Badger, most of the time, they stay friendly.
I'm good with it not.
Well, when I'm right, it's not friendly. she gets upset.
No, I am all for healthy debate. I do not like us turning even from marriage to... Our core values are the same. And this is a philosophy he knows I've held for a long time. And I hold it for when it comes to tribes and mags and stuff like that. You do not want to live in an echo chamber. You do not want to just have yes men around you. You need somebody who's going to challenge your mind. Somebody who's going to not so much question your beliefs, but question in the sense of, why do I really believe this? What are my reasons for believing this? And it can actually make you firmer in your stance because it makes you dive deeper into why do I think the way I think? Why does this feel right to me and this feels wrong to me? Having that kind of lively debate. And we do try to be fair in a debate. I have rules about no low blows, no name calling, that sort of thing. And if you don't know something, say, I don't know. And we move on.
We never bring up your alcoholic mother.
My mother is watching. I just know it. She picks this day to start watching my YouTube channel. Love you, Mommy. But I do believe in lively debate. So we were having one of our many debates. Not arguments. The debate is not an argument. There is no fight in a debate. A debate is a presentation of ideas, right?
Right.
You present your ideas, I present my ideas. We give our reasons for our ideas, and then we just debate the merits of each person.
Well, and sometimes it's not even a debate. It's this is going on, and I have thoughts, and it's
What is
not
your
really
thoughts?
a debate as much as,
It devolves into that sometimes, though.
because she's wrong.
Say that again. One more time.
Because you're wrong.
And
But no, we were discussing how do I say this?
how far is too far?
Very much so. There's a lot of talk going around right now about cities and state governors deeming who can travel, who can not travel, what is an essential business, what is not an essential business.
How many people can be on the street together?
And when does that become a infringement upon rights and civil liberties versus a good idea?
A protection.
And my stance is, you have to be careful because America was founded on the rugged individualist who would leave home, go west.
John! Shh! But mute that one.
Well, you could send him to his room to put sheets on his bed. But no, America was founded by rugged individualists, people who, even if you go back to the colonies, they went to the king, got a petition for what?
Watched Frozen 2 with my niece here recently. Clip.
Okay. Went to the king, got a charter for a colony, and sailed over tried to establish one. Some were successful, some were not. Roanoke.
Jamestown, honestly.
Yeah. But as we get further on in America's history, you have people like Daniel Boone who left home and went west, explored what the Indians called Opetuck, and set up eventually the exploration for towns and for new settlements.
Well, and also think when our government was set up. Yes, the federal government had a role to play, an important role. I'm not an anti-federalist by any stretch of imagination. I think the U.S. government has a very important role to play in the government, and y'all can hate me if you want to, but they do have an important role.
War, peace, and trade negotiations. That's their powers constitutionally, darling. War, peace, trade negotiations.
I'll fight you on it.
I believe in one of the letters it even says that each individual state shall have the powers equal to the state of Great Britain.
Yes, but they did not make it into our laws.
I think that was the intent, but anyway.
It may have been an intent, especially in the beginning with Articles of Confederation, but those quickly devolved. Our current Constitution is a Federalist Constitution. You have the Anti-Federalist, the Federalist, different things. But our government does have a role to play, absolutely. But our government was also put in with certain restrictions. Our Bill of Rights is not a, here's what you can do. It is a government, here's what you cannot do. And I think that's what we've kind of forgotten is we are very much, yes, rugged individuals, but we are freedom lovers. We love the ability to put our own destiny into our own hands. Our pursuit of happiness, maybe not our gain of it, but our pursuit of it is essential to the human experience, the American experience. And I think with these measures, it is easy for our government to overstep their boundaries and overstep their due place in our government. A lot of it to me is telling businesses that they have to shut down. That's bothered me quite a bit. In New York, now in Pennsylvania, as of today, they're telling you what businesses can stay open, which ones have to close their doors. Being enforced by the police.
Yes, we began to enforce mandatory closures of restaurants, bars, and soon we will extend that enforcement action to non-life critical businesses.
That bothered me. That bothered me a lot because Pennsylvania? Really? New York I could almost get.
Philadelphia.
But Pennsylvania? Come on.
You might want to tell them what's going on before you and I really start debating.
Okay, with the debate boils down to a simple thing. What are your moral obligations? Say versus what should be imposed by law?
Okay.
Does that break it down quite easily? We believe we have a moral imperative to stay at home as much as possible. We went for a walk today, staying pretty distance, not making human contact, social distancing, not quarantine. So there is a difference.
Fair enough. I'll let you win that one.
Thank you.
Write that down.
See, I'm right.
Good job.
And I get that. And morally, we should want to help our fellow man. And morally, we should want to keep the elderly from being infected. So we should do our part. I get that. But at the same point in time, I don't see hard time with you telling me that I can't go out.
Mm-hmm.
You telling me that I cannot do X. So
That's my biggest issue. All right, we're gonna pause on that thought. Movie magic time. I'm gonna go over there and put this in the grinder because it looks gorgeous. You want to show them what my deer meat looks like? 'Cause I have to admit.
her deer meat brings all the boys to the yard.
Oop, you're tripping.
I've already cleaned this up once. I'll clean it up again.
All right, guys. If you have a KitchenAid, this thing has been a lifesaver. If you harvest any of your wild game and you just want to turn it into a quick hamburger, ground. KitchenAid, we're not sponsored. This is what I use when I have electricity because it does make the process super quick. So I'm just going to toss in my deer meat cubes up here and we're going to have gorgeous ground beef in there. So hang on and watch. Hey guys, I got done grinding it. Look how gorgeous that looks.
Looks really good.
That's why I really like freezing it whole like that, and then when I get ready to defrost it, it's got this gorgeous color to it. And then it tastes, I don't know, fresher when I do it that way instead of grinding it beforehand and then freezing it. I don't know what it is about that, but it kind of just, it loses a lot of their flavor, and I know a lot of people don't like the gamey taste, but it's not gamey. It smells like really good meat. It smells like blood right now, but to me I can smell that it's good game. It's got a good smell to it. It's a good meat to it. So I'm really, really happy with my gorgeous. And it only took like less than 10 minutes to grind all that up.
I think I timed it at 7, but I could be
Yeah,
wrong.
I mean it's no time at all with those KitchenAids.
So
If you're going to be doing this with your game, do it that way.
spend the extra money and get a KitchenAid classic.
I'm gonna go ahead and start browning my deer meat. Don't forget to add. You can pick your oil of choice. I'm using vegetable oil today just because that's what we have on hand, and that's what we're trying to do is do this recipe from stuff we had here.
I do have some extra virgin olive oil up there if you want it.
Believe it or not, as lean as the deer meat is, the fattier. I mean, if you use lard, vegetable oil, I mean, depends on what you use regularly, what you're used to. That's what I do. It's a very lean meat, and it tends to be almost too lean when you're cooking it up. So I add oil to it to kind of give it that flavor. Some people have it with hamburger meat to make their hamburger meat last longer and get a 70-30 hamburger meat. The fat in that will help with this and actually kind of turn it more into a lean hamburger meat. But do you want to make sure you add fat to it? I'm cooking with pure, nothing else in it but deer meat and going straight into my pot. So Steve's going to finish talking about morals.
Well, and now I'm going to say some things that are going to be unpopular. Where I was going, and am still going with take a look at the rugged individualism of our past, is the world was a lot larger then. The world, the West had not been won. The West was, even as the West was being won, you know, you would hear, well, Santa Fe's got the plague, Santa Fe's got, you know, the dropsy, whatever. And the odds of it coming to Austin, Texas, or Tombstone, Arizona, or Dodge City were rare because it was a long distance.
So are you saying now it's a small world after all?
Get off the Disney kick, you didn't go to Florida. Seriously. If I hear one more Disney reference.
I told you he was going to hang me by the end of the week.
So, where I'm going. The world is smaller. The current virus, the China virus, because it's from China, is a worldwide problem. Who handles and deals with worldwide problems? somewhat in the purview of a government. And when you are trying to shut down something as troublesome as this, and what really makes it a pain is the incubation non-symptomatic period of 2 weeks versus, something fast moving where suddenly, boom, I got it this afternoon at 3 o'clock. By 6 o'clock, I've got a fever. It's easier to know, hey, that guy's sick, and he's only come into contact with 3 people as opposed to 300 over the last 14 days. Maybe it is the government's purview to, I'm baiting her, shut things down and help the selfish to self-quarantine.
And I may sound like the bad guy. There's a good chance that I'll sound like the guy from Rocky 3. Not to be mean or anything, but I do not see, and it's going to happen whether we like it or not. I mean, what are we going to do, honestly? I mean, these emergency powers are being enacted whether we like it or not. At this point, it is, are you going to start a revolution during the middle of a pandemic? I wouldn't recommend. Just so you know. But I don't have to like that the government gets to shut down privately owned businesses, gets to crack down on freedom of assembly. Yes, or a lot of them, I can say that they're immoral and in bad taste. I just read about in New York, I think it was in New York, maybe somewhere else, they were having coronavirus parties.
We have a positive case today from someone who attended a coronavirus party. And this is the part where I, the person that tell everybody to be calm, have to remain calm myself.
Where they were all just getting together at somebody's house. And guess what? Most of them are infected now. Spring breakers. I called it. Just, you can go back and watch. I called it. All those people that went to spring break in Florida, not all of them. But a nice
vast majority.
I wouldn't even say majority, but a good percentage.
Okay, fair enough.
A good percentage of them, guess what, came down with the coronavirus from going on spring break. Oh, it won't affect us. It won't touch us. This kind of
Immortal.
this immoral, 10-foot tall and bulletproof personality that people have. Because they hear it's affecting the elderly. Well, yes, it is killing the elderly and those with immune-compromised problems at a faster rate. If it burns, it burns.
I gotta eat this.
But the young people who are catching this have, in some cases, irrevocable lung damage, respiratory problems for the rest of their lives. Yes, they survived it, but at what cost was going to the beach? Yes, you may say, well, some people have it and they're fine. Thank goodness they had a great immune system. But how do you know? How do you know how great of an immune system you have?
Yeah.
Are you overweight? That could compromise your immune system. Are you a smoker? Is that going to compromise your immune system? Many things. Do you have a underlying health condition that you may not even know about yet?
So
You may have the common cold, and your immune system is already fighting that.
So government overreach is a good thing, and they should be shutting these beaches down and private businesses down.
No. It is not the government's job to dictate morality. Period. It is different than saying something is against the law. Murder is a net negative on the community. Theft has a net negative on the community. Yes, we have decided as a country that those are part of our laws. They went through the legislative process and became laws. Okay?
So the moral
Morality.
imperative of those principles became law because we voted them in?
No, because they didn't come from a place of really morality other than this is what we talked about morality, okay? We had a really long debate, it was fun, of where do we get our morality and what do we choose our morality. Our morality comes from somewhere, and it's really is, I don't know, I'm a moral subjectivist. I think your morality is going to be different from my morality, and we as a society has to decide on what subjective goal are we trying to meet. And to meet that subjective goal, we have objective goals in order to meet it. If that sounds really wordy, I don't mean it to be. I gave a really great analogy. You remember my chess set analogy?
Mm-hmm.
Do you mind? I'm adding the seasoning. I'm doing cheapo seasoning because I'm lazy like that. I add it straight to the ground deer meat, one package. So, sorry, I'm letting y'all know what's going on with the deer meat too.
So pretty much where she was coming from, and I'm trying to remember the exact way she went about this. If we both sit down to play chess, and I grab my queen and jump her all the way across the board and place the king in checkmate immediately and yell I won, that's not kosher because I broke the rules of the game. But I obeyed all the rules. I moved my queen across the board. Or at least the important rules, I moved my queen across the board. Not necessarily properly. I placed the king in checkmate. Not necessarily properly, but I did the job. But that's out of line because
we as a society has decided. Ooh, I'm dropping my stuff. Sorry, it was really loud. We as a society has decided on what the rules of chess are. What are our goals to chess? What are the rules of chess? Now, those are subjective. He can make up his own rules to chess and play it however he wants to. But they will not adhere to what we as a society has said, these are the rules. So he won't be able to play with anybody because I'm playing by society's rules and he is playing his own version of chess. Now, with
I like my way
those subjective rules that we made up, there are objectives, objective ways to come about a end product that we like. There's a certain number of moves that you can make. There are a certain number of things that you can do to come to the result that you want. Checkmate. Even though checkmate is subjective, the path to get there is objective.
Correct.
All right, so that's what I mean by subjective and objective morality. If we as a society says these are what we're going to put up as priority, your checkmate, then there is an objective way to go about that. If we say that freedom is more important than almost anything else, as we as Americans, Benjamin Franklin said, if you sacrifice security for freedom, you deserve neither. We as a society here in America has said freedom, the American people's freedom to choose their own destiny, to choose their own path is paramount. If they choose to be morons, then it is your right as an American to be a moron.
Okay, fair enough. But, counter. I've always believed that my rights end where yours begin.
Absolutely, make it a can opener.
Therefore, I have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. What gives you the right to break quarantine, break, what is it? Body distancing,
Social distancing.
I hate these frou-frou terms. What gives you the right to break social distancing and endanger my life? At that point, don't I have the right to handle you as a threat to my life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness?
Yeah.
Why not?
Because what gives you the right to put me into quarantine?
What gives you the right to endanger my life?
Why are you out in society if you're worried about your life being endangered?
Why are you out of society if you possibly may be a carrier?
This is where subjective goals and it's going to interact. And this is where moral dilemmas are going to come about. I don't see a clear answer because we as society have not put down these are our clear and objective goals. And so that's why it feels like everything's kind of all over the place. I have to admit, I do not agree with a lot of the measures that are coming down. I do not agree with restricting people to this point by enforcement of law, because no law is passed. I have no problem obeying the laws of the land that I live in. Show me the law that says I can't leave my house,
Or you can't go to work.
or I can't go to work, or I can't socialize with people on the street. These, and it will get bad, because this really does feel, and everybody can, it's become the new Godwin's law. It does feel, in that sense, in that air of the day shortly after 9/11. It feels a lot like that, where people are scared, people don't know what to do, things feel out of control, and as that is the perfect crisis to be taken advantage of.
Never let a crisis go to waste.
And a lot of people live by that law. A lot of our politicians operate by that law. That's where I say, where do you draw the line? Where do you say enough is enough?
And for the record, guys, I've been playing devil's advocate and tweaking her temper.
All right, before you tweet
All
my
day.
temper anymore, let me tell them what's going into this gorgeous. I mean, I'm just saying, yes, it's cheap McCormick's, but that looks like delicious deer meat. You want to try a nibble?
No,
It's already cooked.
it feels hot to my arm,
Oh,
and
it is?
I'm afraid of being burned.
It's very hot. Okay, what I'm adding is small can of tomato sauce. This one's an 8-ounce can of tomato sauce, and mine is kind of tomatoey. I love tomatoes, so get all my tomatoes out of the way. I'm gonna do a thing of diced tomatoes,
Just dump it.
just regular petite diced tomatoes. You can use stewed tomatoes. I say dump it, but
I don't think you cut through.
I did cut it.
I don't think you cut through the can.
That's subjective.
Do you know how to use a can opener?
That is subjective.
Have you ever used a can opener before?
Subjective. Okay, subjectively wrong the way I opened it. You can use stewed tomatoes. I use just, and this is why I say it's canned chili, because it's a can of this, a can of that. And then I do, this is technically like Rotel. And if you see I'm not draining anything, this is going to be my base for it. Just diced tomatoes with green chilies, kind of give it a little extra kick. Steve hates it when I do that to him, because he knows that's going to be spicy.
Looks
And
like
then-
I'm having Pop-Tarts for dinner.
A lot of people don't like adding beans to their chili. I do. I grew up with my parents always putting beans in, so I do one thing of dark red kidney beans. I like a very beany chili. My mom used to do like a 7-bean chili. That was terrible. Don't do that. And I do just a can of chili beans. So, and I'm spilling this all over myself because I'm trying to show people I can. So, blah, I've got it on my fingers. Alright, you stir that, I'm gonna go wash my hands.
So where I was going is, yes, I love to tweak her temper, mess with her head.
But it makes for interesting conversations.
I am a devout constitutionalist.
Oh, I forgot. To thicken it up a little bit, we freeze our tomato paste. Add a couple teaspoons of that. Usually can break it off and thaw it out while we're waiting. So let me get a spoon. Go ahead.
I'm a devout constitutionalist. I have personal opinions as to how this is definitely infringement, definitely finky. And
Sorry.
I just don't want you guys absolutely positively thinking that what I am espousing throughout this video is 100% my personal beliefs.
There is a lot of nuance to it.
You know, there's a lot of questions. I legitimately threw those questions at her about my rights end where yours begin. Why do you have the right to be sick around me? Why do you have the right to possibly be sick around me? Why is that okay? Because I have questions. I don't believe that a person should be forced to stay at home. Well, I mean,
That's good to know. What do you
Yeah.
mean, what?
the last 2 weeks until Thursday, I'm voluntarily staying at home.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Because you found out some of you came into contact with somebody who was confirmed to have COVID.
Well, their mother was.
Yeah, you came into contact with the child. The child hasn't been tested, but both parents have. Both parents are positive. The children, either did not come back or they didn't get tested. We haven't heard anything else about any other confirmations.
And that's not my business to know what
Exactly.
a kid.
But Steve was in contact as an educator, and
Yeah.
we don't know.
So, but in the week afterwards, I was with several of my very close friends. I was with, my family, and I am not showing symptoms. I got less than 72 hours to go before
2 week mark.
the 2 week mark. But I've chosen to isolate myself to make sure I don't get sick, and after those 2 weeks, I can tell my close people, my circle, my tribe, hey, I'm clear, so that means that if you come down with it, it's not from me. Don't be, take some stress off of them. And in taking stress off of them, that's my choice, my prerogative. Don't you
And
snap your fingers
I
at
did.
me,
She's
baby.
meowing, and you can hear it. Meow.
Wow.
All right, this has been a very long video. Anyways, put your stew on medium. Let it reduce.
Hey, someone can reduce. Dose. Dose to your left with the essence, the bare truth.
Reduce. I'm not putting that clip in there.
Debate and discuss in the comments.
Please do, because where is it that our freedoms that we hold very dear, what are you willing to give up in order to save your fellow man? Should it be on a voluntary basis, or should the government have the right to enforce the laws that they're already enforcing? What is too far?
And how far should an Emergency Powers Act be able to go? So, hit the comments. Let's get something going.
I love the discussion.
And let's have a real discussion. And if you really want to spill it over, come on over to the Facebook page and
We'll have
let's hash it out. I'm usually there 3 or 4 times a day. So,
Alright guys, thank y'all so much for watching. I know this was really long, and I hope y'all didn't mind us cooking, because this is dinner tonight. So, I just want to show you what our
pantry meal.
quarantine pantry meal, freezer meal, easy. We already had all the supplies here. So, there you go. Hope that was quick. Was not quick.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.